Time have I got?
20 minutes till 12:30.
It's 10 past 12 right now.
It's 10 past 12?
Just
20
to get
minutes?
out to the temple and stuff like that for lunch.
Okay, so about 15 minutes-ish? 10.
It's ironic that this interview is going to go on for an hour and a half, and it's probably going to end up being used 15 seconds or something.
Always
like
the
that.
way.
You're a very key character, Maharaj, though, in
Well, 2 minutes.
I just wanted to ask, some people, though, looking at the problems that were happening at that time and thinking perhaps, was it irresponsible for Prabhupada to send out these young people to do what they did?
Prabhupada was implicated, and there's a recent case where Gurukulis filed a civil action against ISKCON to the extent of several $100 million, which was eventually settled. Some people actually blamed Prabhupada, and they said that he knew about these kinds of things and he should have done something about them. And that was the point at which people really got irate, because they think that Prabhupada didn't. I mean, he could have known, but he didn't. And once Prabhupada was asked, "Are you omniscient? Do you know everything?" And Prabhupada's answer was that I don't know everything, I just know what Krishna wants me to know. This is in Shrudakirti's book, What is the Difficulty? And I think there's some wisdom to that. It's a different kind of omniscience than we think about God being omniscient. He knows how many hairs are on our head, whether we have hair or not. And but Prabhupada's, the omniscience of the spiritual master is not the same. He doesn't know everything. He doesn't know the process of making chlorophyll. He doesn't know the process of the human body. It's a different kind of omniscience. He knows what he has to know. He knows the strengths and weaknesses of his disciples. He knows the situation, but he doesn't know everything. So it's a little incorrect to blame Prabhupada for the Gurukul abuses.
Could you speak perhaps a little bit on the fanaticism that was in the movement at that time, or what we could look at as fanaticism?
The fanaticism that existed in the early days was that a lot of people were thinking we're God's gift to the world. That thinking that I'm God's gift to the world militates against the concept that I should be humble in my life, and I should be tolerant, and that I should forgive, be very forgiving. But that consciousness had to be there in the beginning, because people had to expand. They had to do their duty against a very unresponsive society. They had to go forward. Nowadays, it really doesn't matter, because it's a pluralistic society, and whether we're a servant at Govinda's restaurant or just a casual observer, it really doesn't matter. A casual observer who's sympathetic, let's put it that way.
And were some of the different behaviour and maybe pitfalls and mistakes happening a symptom of age, or was it just that there were some people who joined the movement who maybe shouldn't have been in the positions they were in? Or
The fanaticism that was apparent in the early days of the Hare Krishna movement was partly due to age. It was partly due to necessity. But most of the people that joined the Hare Krishna movement were young, and Prabhupada's response to why are there so many young people in your movement is that young people can absorb new ideas easier than older people. And he gave the example of a son and daughter who sat for a BA examination, and that the father failed and that the daughter passed. And then he quoted something from a devotee who said that Krishna was Prahlad Maharaj, and he said that has to be begun at an early age, and he started speaking to his classmates when he was only 5 years old. So that's the age problem.
do you personally have any regrets surrounding that time, or about things that you saw happen?
Well, I was regretful when people would kind of look down upon people that weren't vegetarians. That was their method of convincing them about Krishna consciousness. Are you a vegetarian? No. Then get out of here. I didn't like that. But other than that, I didn't mind. I mean, things were going quite well.
And something that is a topic of discussion today in the movement as well is women in the movement. Women in the beginning of the movement seem to perhaps have more access to Srila Prabhupada, more personal association. What happened to make some women feel perhaps excluded?
Women feel excluded from the Hare Krishna movement mainly because it's been part of the Indian culture to relegate women as second, third, and fourth, and fifth class citizens. That's the main reason. And Prabhupada has brought the culture of India and has said demeaning things about women in his lectures.